Hey everybody, welcome to Uninterrupted, a cybersecurity podcast from Forbes Cybersecurity and IT Services. I'm John Faust, and I wanted to talk to you today about a phenomenon that we're seeing a lot of, another hacker tactic, and that's called a spam bomb. What is it, what you should look out for, and how you can help, not really so much prevent it in this case, but what you should really kind of do to help mitigate after one's happened and respond to this sort of thing. So over the last couple of weeks, a couple of people that I know have been hit with a spam bomb. And what does it do? What does it look like? So imagine this scenario is you go to get in your email, and all of a sudden you have thousands of messages. And a lot of them are legitimate. They all look really kind of legitimate. And so it'll be, hey, you signed up for this. Thank you for subscribing to this thing. Here's your app that you requested to download. Here's your password that you requested to get. Here's your subscription to this forum that you did. And there are email sites, there are emails from websites all around the world. And when you start to look into them, every single one of them looks legitimate. You didn't sign up for them. So what happened? What is going on? And what does this really mean for you going forward? Well, what this is it's called a spam bomb or an email bomb. And a hacker is using it to overload your inbox with information to hide fraudulent data, to hide a fraudulent thing that's gone on where they don't have access to your email to go and delete the message that they want to see, so they want to hide their tracks. What they're really hoping on you doing is just going through and deleting all these messages, and they cover the tracks of the fraudulent data. So in the course of what happened to a family member was that they had a credit card number get stolen, and the hacker or fraudster, whatever, they bought product with the email address that was with this person, knowing that, hey, the credit card and this email address are going to likely be very closely linked because they have the credit card number, they have the person's name, they had all the information to use to run a transaction with that credit card. Well, it's not hard to go take data that already exists out there on the dark web and associate that name with an email address. And they know that if I order something online and say Fifth Third or US Bank or PNC or whatever have you, if they see the email address is associated with that order, then they're less likely to trigger it for fraud. So in this case, a bunch of sneakers basically were ordered from a place over on the West Coast. They were drop shipped to different locations throughout the country, and the bank didn't spot this fraudulent transaction that was going through until it was too late to have it already kind of happen. Well, the family member in question, when they went through and did an investigation and looked through these thousands of emails that they had, they found the emails that were the receipts for these transactions. So what the hackers were trying to do was get this product delivered to a mule out in the real world that they could sell it on the black market before the fraud could be caught and stopped. And so it was $5,000 or $7,000. I don't exactly remember how much were done on this credit card transaction for these sneakers that ended up getting drop shipped. And so it worked. Like the hackers, they won. They got some of this product and they were able to sell it, to potentially sell it on the black market and those sorts of things. So that's why they do this, so it works, so they have enough time frame that goes on. The reason that they do the spam bomb is because they know that if they, like I said before, if they associated that with an email address that's closely associated with the credit card number, then it's less likely to get triggered in the fraud detectors to the app than other ways there. So they're looking for ways to get around this fraud detection. So they had to go through all the emails, unfortunately, and they had to look for, hey, where is this thing saved? Where is this transaction? Was there anything fraudulent that went on? They ended up forwarding to their bank for the bank investigation. They didn't end up covering, the bank ended up covering the fraudulent transactions, so my family member didn't have to pay for it. But we go and we look at it, and it took a ton of time. It was a ton of energy. They had to cancel that credit card, get a new one set up because it was a credit card stolen. They had to do all kinds of stuff like that. And so there's a lot to unpack and go through and do it. Another scenario was a client calls us with the same kind of thing that's going on. 3 email addresses, so they didn't know exactly which email address would be associated with the credit card transaction, but it was a fraudulent transaction for around $5,000, and that would have sent an email to their thing. They got a spam bomb in order to cover that track. They did it across multiple email accounts because they didn't 100% know which one it would be. The hackers aren't doing these things. They're not sending the spam messages themselves. They're actually not sending spam messages that are classically spam because they're from legitimate websites. What they do is they have a bot, they have AI that goes through and signs you up for all these services across the internet that are from legitimate websites, because your spam filters are less likely to pick up. They're more likely to let these emails go through because they think they look legitimate. And so it's all about hiding their tracks and doing those sorts of things. The other things we've seen is not just with stolen credit cards. I've seen in the past where you have a website. We'll use Amazon as an example. Say you have Amazon and it's got a saved password in there and it's got your credit card information saved in there. They go through and then they use that to order product from Amazon, gift cards, any of those sorts of things. And they know that you're going to get email confirmations about them. They hit you with spam bombs in order to cover that kind of tracks. So what are some things you can do? First of all, don't reuse passwords. That's a really kind of a big no-no. There's kind of not a lot you can do to prevent credit card theft other than the normal things that you kind of try to do to prevent credit card theft. I know it's a difficult thing to kind of get from. That's where some of these things come from. But your regular cyber hygiene is use a strong password. Pick 3 multiple words, put them together with a story and a number and a special character. That'll make a good, strong password. Use a password manager, so don't reuse passwords. And then come up with the types of things to go through and a hierarchy of your passwords. So your banking institutions, your financial institutions, your businesses, those sorts of things, those are first. I like to think of those as the first priority for things to go through and fix and make sure you're using good passwords there. You're not reusing passwords there. Then next, I have the next hierarchy down. That's things like Amazon. Things like it would be bad if somebody got into, they could order a product. It wouldn't hurt me as much as somebody getting into my bank, but it would still really, really be terrible if somebody got access to my Amazon account or something like that, or one of these online e-commerce platforms, something like that, where I have a saved credit card number that they could use to steal money or product and sell on the black market, those types of things. And then third down for me on the list, and the kind of the lowest priority, is things like Spotify and Netflix, right? Like, it would suck if somebody got access to them, but it really just kind of messes up my algorithm with those platforms. It messes up my Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year, but it's not going to materially or financially hurt me in any way if somebody got access to those sorts of things. If we tell everybody to go change all their passwords all at once and not reuse password everywhere, everybody just gets like really locked up and shut down, and using those hierarchies kind of helps. If you do go through a spam bomb situation, obviously let your bank know. Let your cyber security people know so they can help you out with remediating it, help you change passwords, help you do those sorts of things, help you kind of parse through these emails and look for to see what you need to do. Don't just go and delete everything all at once because you might be hiding the fraudulent activity. But know that while this situation is really annoying and it's really terrible, the hackers do it because it works. The hackers do it because the tradecraft works and they're able to get money out of people. And, you know, there needs to be some way to kind of stop it, but really a lot of times when people end up being the victims of these kinds of things, they're just kind of on the other end and they just had it hit them, and so it's hiding some other fraudulent behavior that's happened. Hey, if you have any questions for anything, you want to learn about how to protect your business, do all that kind of stuff, reach out to us, Forbis.com, forbis.com. You know, I'm here to help. We're always here to help. We're happy to answer questions and help you through any situations we have. Thank you for watching another episode, and we'll talk soon. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Uninterrupted, a podcast from Forbis Cybersecurity. We hope you walked away with practical insights to protect your business and stay ahead of the latest cyber threats. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your colleagues. For more tips, resources, and cybersecurity updates, visit Forbis.com, that's 4bis.com, and follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook. We'll be back soon with another episode, so stay vigilant and stay uninterrupted.